Hey folks, if you struggle to understand or know how to use modes, this video is for you. But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't particularly like modes a lot, but they are useful. All right, folks, so why learn modes? Modes can show you what to play over left-hand chords. They can show you how to improvise. They can even give you voicings where you can create new amazing chords on the spot. So this video is not a comprehensive look at modes. It's only a subset of this topic. Come on, we're on a roll today, folks. We're on fire. So listen, we're going to be geeking out though, discussing modes because, you know, even though I did do poorly in music appreciation lab, I can still teach the topic. So anyway, let's get started, folks. So I'm Sean, and the channel is to help you build your confidence, grow your playing, help you develop as an ear musician. And today what we're going to do is we're going to show you what modes are, how to find them, and how to use them. And so the video is an intro to the 7 modes of the major scale. And again, we're not going to get too deep in this, but it's going to help you to start memorizing these and kind of get a good foundation for you to understand modes. And then the reason I call this modes for dummies is because really you can learn this even if you're new to the piano, but you will have to know 2 things. You're going to need to know all of your major scales, and of course you'll need those memorized. And of course, the second thing is you will need to know how to flatten or sharpen a note. And as long as you know those 2 things, then you can understand modes. Now, I was using a bunch of puns and being silly earlier, but really those are really important because they help us with the order. It shows us that the order is important. And so we have the 7 modes. And when I said I don't particularly like modes a lot, it was actually showing the brain loves acronyms. And by the way, throw your acronym down in the comment if you have another one to help you memorize these, if you've studied these before. But this order is important because it will help us know what the modes are. And so to find the modes, and mode is, like I said earlier, is just a subset. So basically, if we take the C major scale, which we know is all white notes, right? And to take a mode of the scale simply means that we're going to use the same notes, but we're going to shift them up, right? And so since the first one, when I said I don't particularly like, the D stands for Dorian, and that just means that we're going to start on the 2nd scale degree. Now notice if I start from D to D, it's still using the same notes as the C major scale. However, because their start point is different, we call it a mode of the major scale. And the name of that mode is Dorian. Same thing with the next one, E. The next one, as you can see, is Phrygian. It starts from E to E, right? And the name of this is E, Phrygian. But notice again, it uses all white notes, the same notes. So this is called a mode. And then of course, F to F. Okay, this is F Lydian. G to G would be G Mixolydian. A, all of these notes here are going to be, it's going to be called A Aeolian. And then B to B is called B Locrian. And then we're back. So one of the things that somebody would ask me is, okay, so why would this matter? The connection hasn't always been made clear when I've heard this explanation, and I've seen it a lot. And I want to show you why it helps you and why it makes sense. Somebody wants you to find the rule for Dorian, or if you need to find the rule for Dorian, or how to find the Dorian mode, then what we're going to need to do is, well, let's go to the second one. These are the collection of notes. And what I want to do is I want to compare it to the major scale from the same root. In other words, since I started on D, I want to compare it to a D major scale. And I want to see when I'm pressing these notes down, what has changed from the D major scale to what's happening here? Well, in the D major scale, it's these set of notes, but the D Dorian mode is these set of notes. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare. The D didn't change, the E didn't change, but the F sharp is no longer an F sharp in this mode. It's an F. So the 3rd note was flattened. The 4th note is the same. The 5th note is the same. Remember, you guys said you know your scale, right? So the 6th note is the same. But then this is a C. In the C in the D major scale, that should be a C sharp. But since that C sharp is a C when I'm pressing the D Dorian mode, it means that to get a Dorian mode, I would need to flatten the 3rd note right? And flatten the 7th note. Okay, so let me just kind of make this a little bit clearer. So if someone says, okay, so this is C Ionian and this is D Dorian, but I want to play C Dorian, which means I want to start from C. Well, if you want to play C Dorian, then I'm going to use that rule that says flatten the 3rd note and flatten the 7th note. So 1, 2, 3, flatten this 3rd, 4, 5, 6, 7, flatten this, and this, that's C Dorian. Okay, so that's how you use this. Okay, so let's look at these. Let's look at the next one, E Phrygian. So you take the E Phrygian, you start from the major scale, we start the major scale from the same root note. So this is going to be an E major. So let's see what's been changed. In the E major scale, it should be an F sharp next, but it's an F. So we're going to flatten the 2, should be a G sharp there. We're going to flatten the 3. Looks like the 4 doesn't change. The 5 doesn't change, but should be a C sharp there, playing a C. So we're going to flatten the 6. And this one should be a D sharp, so we're going to flatten the 7. So we have flat 2, flat 3, flat 6, flat 7. So to play C Phrygian, I'm going to flatten the 2, flatten the 3, 5, 4 and 5 stay the same, flatten the 6, flatten the 7, and here's C Phrygian. Because we use the rules, compared it to the major scale, and saw the notes that were changed. Now, if I'm going to F Lydian, I'm gonna do this with all of these because I said we're gonna be geeking out today, right? So this is gonna be from F to F. Now in the F major scale, you know, only the B is flat, right? But it seems like when I'm pressing from F to F, the B is not flat, it's B natural. So what happened here? Only one note changed, and that is the B went from a B flat to a B natural. So the 4th note was sharped. So in order to find a Lydian sound, if they say play C Lydian, I'm simply going to take the 4th note, and instead of playing an F, I'll play an F sharp. So now I'm going to show you how to use these too in a second, but let's go through each of these because I want to make sure that we're showing you. So if you look at G, and I'm going to speed up a little bit now. Again, in the G major scale, the F is sharp. Here, the F is flat. So to play the Mixolydian, G Mixolydian, that means that you take your 7th note and you make it flat. From A to A, Aeolian. So basically, if you look at the A major scale, that would be, we know that this is all white notes here. So that kind of helps us because we can see that the C is going down. So the 3rd note, we're going to lower that a half step. The F sharp is the 6th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to take the 6th note and flatten it. And we're going to take the 7th note and we're going to flatten that. So to play an Aeolian mode means that we will flatten the 3rd, 6th, and 7th note. So C Aeolian would be flatten the 3rd, flatten the 6th, flatten the 7th. And then B Locrian. So that's going to be, okay, so starting from the major scale of the same root, we know that the B major scale is like this. So this is a lot that's changed here. It looks like we're going to flatten this. This is not a C sharp, it's a C. So we're flattening the 2. We're taking the 3rd note, we're making that flat. The 4th note remains the same. The 5th note is flat. The 6th note is flat. The 7th note is flat. So do you see the usefulness of being able to know them in order so that you can easily find the rules at any time? So let me just do a small test here. So if I need to play, for instance, let me play D Lydian. Well, the rule says that to play the Lydian, I would sharpen the 4, right? So I would take the D scale, which is this, and I would simply take that 4th note, which is a G, and make it a G sharp. This is how I use the modes. Now, the big question I get asked a lot is, so how do you know what scales to use over certain chords, right? And so modes will help with that. But this video, again, is just a primer into this, but modes will help with that. So let me show you something. If you look on the screen, you'll see a chart that I have on my website. And what we're going to do is, I want to start with the Dorian mode. Like, how is that going to help me? When would I use it? So as you can see, C Dorian, we flatten the 3rd, we flatten the 7th note. And if we circle every other note, or if we look at every other note, I'm going to use the left hand to play C, E flat, G, and B flat. So what does this tell me? This is really cool. This tells me that the Dorian can be used with minor chords, particularly minor 7 chords sound really nice. Right? Now look at E Phrygian. Again, I'm sorry, look at C Phrygian, right? And you can see the notes there. And also, if you notice, the B flat is highlighted. And the reason the B flat is highlighted is because these are the same notes. Well, one way to look at this is to flatten the 3 and flatten the 7. But another way to look at this is to say, well, this is just like a B flat scale. But instead of starting on the 1st note, we're starting on the 2nd note, which makes sense. And this is the reason I said memorize the pun, because Dorian is the 2nd mode. It's going to start on the 2nd note of the B flat major scale. If you want to look at it that way, it's the same notes as B flat major scale, but starting on the 2nd note. But I would use it, since I'm starting on a C, I would use it with a C minor chord. Let's look at the next one, C Phrygian. We flatten a 3, flatten the 6 and 7. It has the same notes as the A flat major scale. But if I were to start on the 3rd note of that scale, so instead of doing this, it's, okay. I'm sorry, did I say flatten? I think I may have missed flatten 2 and a 3 and 6 and 7. I'm not sure if I said that right. Right, so this is called C Phrygian. And again, if we circle every other note, it will tell us where we can use this, right? But to give a clue, it seems like it's also a major scale, but you know, this one, the difference from the Dorian is that the A in the Dorian A is natural, and this one is flat. So that's for kind of later on, as you get a little bit more intermediate with this, this will kind of help. But for now, just say it's a C minor. We'll use the Phrygian with a C minor. Now, let's look at the Lydian. So with the Lydian, only one note is sharp. And we could circle every other note, but I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to circle the 1st, 3rd, and the 5th note. And in the right hand, I'm going to circle the D, the F sharp, and the A. So this is a bright sound. In the left hand, we have a C major chord, and in the right hand, we have a D major chord. And playing those together would give me a Lydian voicing. This is what I meant by modes can help you with voicings, because Lydian tends to be the brightest sound. So if I'm playing a song called Great Is Thy Faithfulness, Great Is Thy Faithfulness. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. I have an F sharp here. Now that voicing I talked to you before, which had a C chord in the left hand, this F sharp is an indication to me that it's a Lydian sound, because remember, in C Lydian, the F is sharp. So since I'm in the key of C and I shouldn't be playing any sharps, and I'm playing an F sharp, that's an indication to me that I can use a Lydian sound, and now I can have all the notes from the Lydian mode to come up with nice voicings. I could take this chord here, I could put this chord in the bottom and maybe just put the E up top. I can take the D triad that I have and put the A on the bottom, and now I have an entire chord, but it's really not the chord that I'm referencing, it's the mode, it's the Lydian mode. See, where did I get that from? Well, the Lydian mode helped me to find notes that I liked. And so this is the kind of ways that we can use modes in our playing to help us out. Now, let's look at the Mixolydian. The Mixolydian, if we circle every other note, we get C, E, G, and B flat. So this is an interesting voicing. This means that the Mixolydian mode is used with dominant chords. Great is thy faithfulness. See, what did I do just then? Well, on turning with thee, I wanted to use a dominant chord there. And so I know that the Mixolydian, the rule for Mixolydian mode is to take the 7th note and make sure that it's flat. So I just did that. So turning with thee, turning with thee. See, that's all I did there. But this is just a really trying to make it as simple as we can to understand how these are used. And then Aeolian. How would you use the Aeolian? Well, if you circle every other note and look at every other note, again, look at this, we have 3 choices to do over minor chords. You can do a Dorian, a Phrygian mode, or an Aeolian mode. So this means that you have options. Now the Locrian, if we look at the Locrian, that's going to be C, E flat. And again, this is the chord that I would play with my left hand because again, we want to know what modes to do when your left hand is playing certain chords, right? So if I'm ever playing this minor 7 flat 5 here, I would need the Locrian. See, and as you can see, the D flat is highlighted. So again, that means that the Locrian mode, which we know is the 7th mode of the major scale. So it's like it's like a D flat major scale, but starting on the C. So think D flat major scale, but start that scale on the 7th note. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, where in the world would you use that though? Let's do Great is Thy Faithfulness again. It's a popular hymn. If you don't know it, you can. It's easy to pick up, I think. But let's do it in C. Let's do it in F sharp here. So great is Thy faithfulness. There's my Lydian sound. Oh God, my Father. I use the dominant here. I'm not going to get too deep into this though. I'm not teaching this. We're just trying to show you the use. And then let me keep going. Okay, check this out. There it goes right there. See, I'm just kind of showing you stuff here. So, and I know I got a little bit advanced pretty quickly, but what I was trying to do is find within this song where I would use the C Locrian sound. So this is why we do need to have that foundation knowledge in order, because you can learn these, but you will have to have some foundation knowledge in order to use them properly, because I would obviously need to know, when am I going to be using a C minor 7 flat 5, which is what these notes are. So the way I used it was, so great is thy faithfulness, oh look at my Father, there is no shadow of turning, thou changest not, they come by, they fail not. And then as thou hast been. So I'm using this C minor 7 flat 5 to approach, and I'm going down a half step in the bass to a diminished chord, and then I'm doing, so that's kind of the pattern there. And then when I was doing this and I said, oh, I'm holding on this note, what do I do with my left hand? Oh, the Locrian scale. So that's why I said, remember the Locrian scale, I'm thinking of, okay, just use the notes in a D flat major scale. See? So by the time I was off this chord here to this B chord, I stopped using the notes from the D flat major scale because I'm changing the chord, right? And those are different rules there, but you know, this is just showing you where they could be used and why they're useful. So we got pretty in depth pretty quickly, you know, and I go in more depth on this on my website, but for today, I think this is going to be cool. Check out the link in the description because I may have a chart or something for you to download. Maybe, who knows, maybe I'll just go ahead and give you that chart that I was using there. And lastly, thanks again for watching. Go ahead and give a thumbs up. If you understand this, go ahead and put those acronyms in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe because we don't want to miss if things are coming out on the channel. And I really appreciate you guys today. Again, we focus in this channel, we focus on song tutorials from gospel musicians, transcriptions, mostly from gospel musicians. Sometimes we do more than that, and theory. For gospel. So if you have a love for gospel music or you have an interest in playing gospel music, go ahead. Hopefully I'm going to see you soon. Thanks again, everybody. This is Sean.